Hello, welcome to the Small Gamer. I am one of your hosts, Rob. I'm joined by Nick. He's a co-host of mine. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Rob.
And I was just about...
You're right. You did give me this on the show, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I also joined by Mr. Tom Layton. Hey, Tom.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for asking. Today we're going to be talking about our Space Marine list that we've been writing and devil fishing in our minds. Talking a bit more about Marines generally, which according to the MetaWatch article I read today are underrepresented. So it's useful. Hopefully will inspire people to play some more Marines. Nick, Tom, what are your thoughts?
Shitbook, isn't it?
Definitely what we all want, more Marines, isn't it? Everyone's gagging for more Marines.
Gagging for it.
We've been seeing them all for the entire year. We just want more.
That's all I want. Hello, everyone in the Twitch chat. Big love to you. Big Goldfish. Can't wait to see you at some point at your job, probably. Scrivo, Captain Andrew, bar on Saturday. What's going on? Brad Glover. Oh, my God. Loving
What
your
up,
towel
dudes?
at the moment. Brad.
I think he's meant to be called Baron Saturday, but, bar on Saturday
Well.
works too. It just depends upon your perspective, I guess.
Depends who you talk to, but it's fucking my way of saying it. And if Baron Saturday isn't happy about it, he can meet me at the bar on Saturday and I'll fight him. So we're going to go through the news, which is light, and then we're going to be talking about our Marine list, which is exciting. Okay. Whoa. Hello, Twitch chat. Hope you're well. Thanks to everyone else for getting Patreon. You guys are great. And thank you to everyone on the podcast. Please stay hydrated. Drink that water. The more water you drink, the happier you'll feel. But I'm going to start the show off by saying, Nick, Tom, happy Men's Mental Health Day, or just generally Men's Day. Are you both well? How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. I also I got an email today to tell me that it's actually also International Toilet Day.
Is it?
Apparently, I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know if that's true or what the significance of it is. But yeah, so happy Men's Day and happy Toilet Day.
I did not know that. I didn't know there would... Is there a day for everything?
Yeah.
Because there's even a Warhammer Day now, isn't there? But it's for
There
some
is a
reason
Warhammer
Halloween.
There needs to be a Stomper Day, doesn't there?
I think that's just Val's birthday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, can we not decide that today is International Men's Day and International Stomper Day all at the same time?
And it's National Toilet Day. Make of that what you will.
Make of that what you will. Make of that what you will. Wow, a toilet day. Bog's life. That's, that's what it is. Right, Nick, how have you been for the past week? What's been going on? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been pretty good, but not been doing much really because obviously we're in lockdown. Just been playing lots of Warcraft 3. Hashtag gold 4.
Good.
And I've been doing a little bit of hobby though. So because instead of playing with the guys I usually play on Wednesday nights with, we've been doing hobby hangouts and stuff like that, which has been really nice to still hang out with each other and talk about the hobby and just hang out and do some painting and stuff like that. So one of the things that I built this week, which was, I didn't necessarily enjoy the build mostly, but was my new Stomper that you can see here.
Oh, glorious. Has your Stomper got a name yet?
Yeah.
He's got a
Amazing.
fucking hat.
Yeah. Has he got a hat?
Got a hat.
What? Oh,
So
podcast
I'm going to
guys,
name
see
him
this.
Churchill because I've given him
my
a top
God.
hat and
Okay.
he's going to have a little cigar coming out of his mouth.
Also, he's going to commit genocide.
I didn't make the joke, but you did it for me.
that.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, are you worried about naming your Stomper after Genocidal Maniac or not bothered?
Oh no, it's named after the Churchill insurance dog.
What's the Churchill insurance dog named after?
I don't know. It's not for me to question.
Ours is not the reason why, Nick. Ours is but
Yes.
to do and die in service of the Queen. That's what I've always thought.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. A little hat. Now I want to add an embellishment onto my Stomper. Tom, have you got any embellishments on your Stomper?
What's an embellishment?
Addition, something to like an
To show
alloy,
off about.
like
Yeah,
an
it's got-
alloy on a
It's
car.
got paint on it, which is more than most of my stuff, so I guess that's an embellishment.
That is an embellishment. That is indeed an embellishment. Datalist says, "What an incredible toilet, Nick, that you have
Thank you.
created for yourself." Tom, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Good, thanks, mate. I've been looking at a lot of Grey Knight legs that are on my desk. That is what I've been doing. I have not been doing very much painting of them. I played another game of the TTS League against our other co-host here. I played against Innes. So it was table free. Still going strong with Oberon. With Oberon versus Nids as the typical top tier table matchup. So that was fun.
Who won?
Oberon did.
Oh, did he? So you won again?
I mean, I just ran at him and then he couldn't kill me. So it's just like, okay. Like, and if we're saying, the Necron secondary against me isn't necessarily great because I can just get everywhere. So Necron secondary is effectively the same as Engage in all fronts, but backwards. So you get 2 points for every quarter your opponent isn't in at the end of your turn.
Mm-hmm.
And against this massive Nid horde with 150 gaunts, I got 14 points.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, it was insane. It's just nuts. And
So
you can't
didn't find
first
clearing the horde difficult then?
I mean, containing the horde was more like what it was. It was like a sheepdog with a race running around. So it was just like, fine. Not really a massive issue clearing the horde because like it was Hammer and Amble deployment, so he'd run in, I'd shoot something with the warriors. I can fall out and charge with the race as well, so you can just jump out. I also didn't realize I had my will be done, which Innes told me about.
After?
No, he told me mid-game. I was like, oh, cool. I get +1 to hit for free. Nice. But then you can also get the +1 to hit off Zandrak anyway, so you get +2 to hit, which means you can then just go straight for his Malanthrope because no one cares. So, yeah.
Most people would be quite keen for their +1 to hit buff,
also,
but you weren't too bothered.
No, well, I already had one. It was +2 I was trying to get for. Also, he did get very unlucky because at one point he charged the Nightbringer on 2 wounds with his Broodlord, double fault with it, and still didn't kill it.
What?
Perfection.
It was fantastic.
Don't they hit on 2s?
Yes.
7 re-rolling wounds.
With 6 attacks, yes.
How
I mean,
the hell
fought
did that
twice.
happen?
How did that
Multiple
happen?
saves, baby.
Oh my god.
He only wounded 3 times, and I passed all of his saves in total. It was delightful.
Can I say a big shout out to Mam Debbie in the chat? Sexy bastard. Nice having him on the show. Well done, Tom.
Why did you steal
Congratulations.
when you could be lucky, dude?
You are just showing people how it's done. Is that the
rolling fours?
Rolling fours.
Rolling fours, baby.
How did you find that reanimation protocol? Useful or not?
I still haven't passed one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Even with your warriors?
Oh, we don't. No, actually, no one's killed a warrior yet. The only things I've killed are the immortals, and I'm getting more chances at them now. I realize I have 5 more of them.
How do you like the immortals?
Fine, they're just annoying. You just stick them somewhere. They're quite good in dealing with things as well. Because Innes tried to drop some rippers in my back corner, so that I wouldn't be able to claim 2 points every turn for my Necron secondary without just sending something over there. So I just veiled some warriors over with +1 attack. Not +1 attack. Sorry. What did I veil them over with? I veiled them over with something. I mean, I veiled them over. I shot him, and then I made a 9-inch charge of him, or a 10-inch charge because I'd killed a guy, and just beat the crap out of the rippers. So he was like, "Well, you get about 8 more points now." I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
Thanks, by the way, to Dude Day for subscribing. Big love to you. That's really nice, and also to Sesneg 40k for subscribing. Who wrote "I want my."
Difficult.
I don't think it's
name
actually
to read.
Is it Say 40k or just Say Snag?
It just says Sesneg.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But he said I want my money back, and I was like, if we did,
Well, that's 3 years of worth of money.
you wouldn't get one.
Let's see what PayPal has to say about this.
See you later, Data List. Look after yourself.
Bye.
Yeah, have fun. I can't wait to finally play Ninth. I haven't played since February. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling that. A lot of people. So I get your vibe.
Definitely.
I really do get your vibe.
I can't wait to stop playing 40k. Give me another national lockdown so I don't have to play this shitty game.
I love this game.
Oh,
Datcom,
yeah.
thanks for subscribing.
I
And
felt
he
totally
asks,
the opposite to Tom.
he asked Nick, will you cuddle the little wee stomper? Coddle the little wee stomper. And also thanks to Mamdare for donating some gift subscriptions in the chat. So that Audum, Wargamer Dean, Crazy Horse, Loki, and Wes80 have all got a subscription. That's fucking nice. Thanks, Mamdare.
Oh.
Do you know?
Cheers,
And he
Mamdare.
said Merry Christmas. Nick, what did I say before the show started?
You said you had that Christmas feeling in your stomach.
First day of the
You're
Christmas
actually
feeling in
sick.
your stomach. Yeah. There we go. Sorry, show us the kit. Stomp again, Nick. Let's do that. It's like stomper porn. Should we all bring our stompers every Thursday as like a not monument, like what's the word?
Tribute.
No, it's not that. Right. Mascot.
Yeah.
Or
What's your stomper called, Rob?
I haven't given him a name yet. I might do like a competition online or something so everyone can name it. But then it would be called Stomp on the Stomp Face.
Yeah.
Why don't I was wondering maybe we could I could dress up as a full human size stomper as like some sort of like for charity. I don't know, whatever. I went to a job today and they were listening to Christmas songs and put the tree up. Yes, Will Dockerall. Mum Dare also says part of the All Points podcast, which is a podcast, is giving away a Mega Gargan to all Podbean followers in 2 weeks. Wow. I can't wait to follow your OnlyFans after that. That's going to be very nice. Nick, your microphone's off, baby. Nope. Don't know what's...
Sorry, Churchill. I think Churchill hit the mute button accidentally. Stop it, Churchill.
Okay.
Right, okay. Right, so shall I get on with some news?
Yeah, do it.
Tom, you heard any news so far this week?
Yeah, Val did a funny thing. It was funny.
Okay, all right. Nick, any news you've got yourself on?
I haven't heard any news.
Okay. All right. Okay. So 40k news this week, obviously, there's the preview this weekend, which is very unlike Games Workshop.
Yes.
To do that when we're doing an event. That's what's weird of them. But I think we're going to see the Death Guard Codex and all the Death Guard information come out this weekend. Are you excited about that, Nick?
Yeah, I'm gagging to see that. Obviously, I've kind of wrote a rough list what I want to play anyway. Lots of Marines, in Rhinos, with Playboy Scrawlers and some Demon Princes. But I'm itching to see, what the new book's going to look like. I think the Marine and Necron Codex have been really good. I think they've been much better than 8th edition ones. And obviously, Death Guard came out at the start of 8th edition, so they've had a long time for R&D to improve that codex. So I think it'd be really cool to see what's in there, what changes they're making, and lots of the rumours are that Disgustingly Resilient is going to get changed to -1 to wound. So that's a pretty big change. So it'd be nice to see what actually happens there.
There was a screenshot floating around that was Disgustingly Resilient only applies on 6s and it only applies to infantry.
Oh, so it's only 6s, only infantry.
That's what the screenshot said. I don't know how real it was though. We'll have to see.
Well, yeah. We don't know anything. I'm excited. I mean, as you know, I'm not excited about the preview because their previews are pretty shit. But I am excited about finding the news out. To be honest.
I mean, it's much like all their articles that come out. They're all a bit shit, but it's just those tidbits of actual information that you can pick out, which is what people are actually excited about.
Exactly.
I think anyway, like the community articles, like preview and rules, like who reads the guff? You look at the screenshots of the rules and then read that, and that's the information that you came for. Much like the Games Workshop previews, there's guff in between, but it's just the pictures and the actual stuff that comes out that you're actually interested in.
Oh my god, Nick, hold on, let me just get my baseball pose out. Thanks for setting it up. Much like a lot of the guff that you find in MetaWatch articles, bang! Right, straight out the park.
Out the park.
No.
Robin's taking a slow run around Warhammer Park there, waving at all his fans.
He's out of breath, give him a minute.
It's just gone. It's out the park. Anyway, big shout out to both Val and Peter on the 40k Adjacent show for that's some of the news this week. Obviously, Games Workshop doing any tournament and stat-based articles is fascinating for us as community members because they've generally avoided it for a long time, and also when you give them the stark reality of the numbers in their face, very much like a dick. It's very difficult to ignore.
Depends on the dick.
It does depend on the dick. Have either of you two read the article?
I read the first paragraph and that was enough for me to bully Val, so I left it there.
I haven't read it now.
Okay.
The first paragraph for context said, we don't just interview top tournament players, we also have Val and Peter on.
Speaking of not good players,
here we go. There you go.
I haven't looked at the article, but what I noticed, where are their player cards?
Yeah.
Like when they had Nick Novato,
They could have had
made
some
him a
really
player
shitty
card.
bars, couldn't they?
Whereas, it could have been like,
Well, I see that's the problem. As you guys know, as someone who does, sorry, as you guys know, apologies. As someone who does commentary, those that can't do commentate, and those that can't commentate do stat shows, and I do both. So, like.
I did also enjoy how they said, we don't just interview top players after interviewing one guy.
Yeah, we don't just interview top player.
We don't just interview man. we interview.
Anyway, it's a good article, and I really do give. I would actually suggest you all go read it if you get the opportunity. One of the good things is Val and Pete came up with something called the T-whip percentage. I won't try and talk about it the way they did. And there's some really fascinating stuff in there. I think one of the interesting elements was the conversation about Space Marines and how Space Marines factions take up like 38% of available factions to play, yet they only represent 33% of the meta. So I think that was an interesting conversation.
Okay, well, let's boil that down and see which of those 36 books are actually being played, shall we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, please do.
Well, I don't know the stat. I'm just making a point that it's not. You can't just like lump. Did you know, Rob? 100% of the factions in 40k are 100% represented.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of the armies in 40k tournaments come from 40k codexes.
Yeah,
none of them are from codexes that haven't been released yet.
I know, amazing playtest advantage. But like, I don't know, it's just such a broad thing to say, oh, well, if you take all the Marine books, well, actually, then it's fully representative. Because you could, if you extend it out far enough, you can represent anything. The question is, which books are actually being represented the most? And it is like Salamanders, or it will be Deathwatch, by the way, 100%. It's going to be Deathwatch. And things like this, right? So I'm sure if you look at something like a Black Templars, or even maybe like an Ultramarines to a degree, like they wouldn't. If you took those out of the pool, then suddenly the representation starts to skew.
Mm-hmm. Any more to that? No?
I mean, no.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think one of the interesting things from the article was the T-whip percentage, which was basically like you effectively. So there should be a let me get this right. Representation of the army versus their win percentage should be equal, and therefore you get a number of 1. If you get a number above 1, then the further above 1 it is, the better that they're doing as a faction, which is interesting. So, like, it was a really good article. I really liked it. Hey, Luke. Hey, everyone in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, I loved it. Yes, Dudar Day. Games Workshop did pinch Val and Falcon. This is the 40k version of Wagatha Christie, the Waggate story.
Can't believe they approached.
I've seen that.
Them
Colleen
to
Rooney.
steal their knowledge.
I can't
Colleen
believe
Rooney,
it.
Rebecca Vardy thing, isn't it?
I can't believe we're talking about Wagatha Christie.
Wagatha Christie, what a shitty nickname.
I can't believe we're talking about Wagatha Christie on the show.
Who's Wagatha Christie?
Good question. It's the nickname that Wayne Rooney's wife gives to Jamie Vardy's wife.
Anyway, so we'll be able to hear more from them on Tuesday.
Wagatha Christie, I'm looking forward to getting her on the show.
No, we're not.
Nice. When are we going to develop into 40k wags, by the way?
When are we going to? As soon as I can. Like, literally, like, if someone would marry me and turn me into a 40k wag, I'd be all over it.
True. Yeah.
Well, I think Tibble's evil cat in the chat is pretty keen, Rob.
Stand for wives and guys.
Tibbles, are you rich? Can you keep me in plastic and penises for the rest of my life? Because I'm in. That's all I've ever wanted. P&P. Right, okay. PP.
Control PP. All right.
Right, so we should talk about what we're mainly here for today.
The Stomper again.
We're Stompers. Come on. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yes, Meatballs in the chat says, T-whip, by the way, is an interesting stat. Lots of people look at game-winning percentages and judge from that, when tournament-winning percentages is significant. T-whip accounts for armies that suffer from gatekeepers. There's a kind of... There is an interesting... there is an interesting kind of like conversation about some of that stuff. Like, and you can go on for ages. The stat stuff is fascinating. I love it. I talk about it all day. Anyway, let's not do let's do what we were meant to be talking about, which is Space Marines.
Yeah.
Space Marines. So we have all come up with a list. Is this correct?
Yes, it is correct.
It is
I
correct.
definitely did not steal it off anybody.
I didn't steal mine off fucking anyone. It was all homegrown. I feel way more confident about this list than I did about my Necron list, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, you're not going to hide behind a clipboard this time.
All right. Don't need to fucking bring up that moment, do we? I was having a tough time. And
It was funny.
I was having a really tough time, and we all know that. It was a tough one. Hold on, I've lost my notes. Won't move. Okay.
Notes?
Yeah, I've got notes. Fuck you. All right, I'm going to do mine first. So,
Okay.
and thanks to Scrivo, we've also got a picture. So this is our third part of the Space Marine book review, which is nice. So we're now we're 3 weeks in. So this is my list. Rob's Blood Angels list, or as I'm going to call it, Bangles Bangers. That's my list name. What do you think?
Bangles Bangers.
Yeah.
Fucking shite.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'll take that with a pinch of salt.
True.
Right. So it's just one battalion, mainly because I don't really know why everyone keeps taking like loads of just everyone's like, I'm going to take another fucking detachment. I'm like, what are you doing about that? What are you doing about that? It's not Black Templars. I'm sorry. It's not Black Templars. So I'm mainly jazzed over this because actually the thing that I like about the book as a whole, my major takeaway, in my opinion, coming at it as an orc player, specifically, is that you can genuinely get a lot of attacks from your shooting units, which is super annoying. Like, so if you charge a squad of intercessors, you'll end up with 3 attacks each.
Yes.
Right?
3 attacks per model, yeah.
3 attacks per model, which is just like almost the same as the orcs sort of a scenario. Like, it's a lot of attacks, really. Like, and it kind of, so anyway, so I really like that. And if you listened to the show last week, I also really like Psychic Fortress. So I wanted to play around with that. And I also like combat. And I think as much as shooting is good in the game, I think being able to push stuff off objectives is super, super important. So I just went for Blood Angels because I like the +1 to wound. I think that's really, really good. I think like there's very few like minuses to wound. I think it's just generally like I would obviously want that over plus to hit. I just think it's super strong, and obviously everyone agrees it's super strong. It's not like I'm inventing anything here, but I think it's really good, and it's the thing I like the most from the chapter tactics, personally. Like I would build a Blood Angels army.
Yeah.
Is what I would do. So then, and then I just included stuff that I really liked, basically, that I talked about from last week. So I took a 9-man heavy intercessor squad for my troops, ×2. So 2 of them, so they're just going to control the mid-board, which is 27 wounds at toughness 5. And I took Mephisto. Go on.
Can you go for a little bit about what the heavy intercessors actually are? Because we didn't talk about them last week.
Oh, okay. So they're troop choices that are toughness 5 as opposed to toughness 4, like most of the other Marines. They've got an extra wound, so they've got 3 wounds as opposed to 2 wounds. So you get 27 wounds at toughness 5. And then they've obviously got their 3-up armor save. Now I've taken Mephiston in my list, and he's just going to literally walk around with them doing Psychic Fortress. And then the idea is to give those 2 heavy intercessor squads and the intercessor squad that's in there, which again is a 9-man, is to give them that 5-up invulnerable save from Psychic Fortress. The question I've got for you guys, I don't know if it was clever or not clever, is I just took 9-man squads, not 10-man squads. Is there a general consensus about this at the minute? Like,
I think 10 would be better, because then that gives you the option to combat squad and go into 2 5s. Because if you are over 5 puts you over the threshold for blast weapons getting max shots at you, I think. So 9 you can't avoid that if you needed to. It might not be an issue, so you might not even need to, but I like having 10s if you're going above 5, because then you, like I said, you can combat squad and split if you need to. Then you get 2 units instead of 1.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So on that one,
yeah,
9 is fine compared to 10 because, as Nico says, it does duck you under the blast thing. But I don't think it's as important as getting underneath 6, which you then fucking ruined with your elites choices. Also, I'm pretty certain those are fast attack, aren't they?
They're elites on fucking Battlescribe. So
fast. Oh, I made my list on Battle Scribe, and they're in fast attack.
Oh, mine might be on fast attack.
Question, Battle Scribe.
Hold on. Well, I got my list in front of me, so it depends what Scrivo did.
Text.
They are fast attack. It's okay. That's just Scrivo's written elites twice.
Oh, Scrivo.
So, oh, there we go. Playing the graphics guy. Still fine. Whatever. You guys get it. So anyway, I went for 9s. But as Ilya Rakin says, 10 gives you an extra heavy weapon option if I wanted to take it, which I wasn't too bothered about overly, but I could. But I dropped him down to 9. I'll see. I'd like to play this on like TTS a bit and practice with it because heavy incest is still not available to buy, obviously. So. This is a dreamer list at the moment. And then so I got Mephiston. He's super cool. He's a nice little counter puncher that's going to be able to be in those guys. And then everything else starts off the board. Yeah, this is kind of my concept. Oh, you can keep everything off the board. What's the rule? Is it half now?
It's half the number of units and half the number of points. So as long as 500. 700, 8, no, you got 900.
I'm sure he's done it properly.
I haven't.
So maybe you'd have to start the Reavers on the board.
Yeah, I'd start the Reavers on the board. They're just a joke anyway, really. But the Meph is a sexy model, absolutely. I know I had one job.
Even if he is sniffing his bum.
Listen, he's great. He's a cool model. But the whole idea is, and obviously it can change depending on who you're up against as well. So I've got Sanguinary Guard. So I've got 9 of them. They're off the board. I've got 2 squads of 6 Plasma Exterminator. Inceptor squads. Tom can tell you about why that's wrong to take 6 in a moment. And then I've obviously got a captain who's the Warlord, and he's got the Shield Eternal, which is going to give +1 save and an invulnerable save. And then once per game, I think he can go up to 3 up. And then he's also got But I took the Warlord trait that I really liked was the Rites of War. I don't know about you guys, but I jammed on this quite hard. So the Rites of War is while a friendly chapter core or chapter character unit, which is they're all core apart from the Sanguinary Guard, are all core within 6 inches of this model. Each model in that unit. Oh no, sorry, hold on. They get objective secured. So and that is why my Reaver squad's in there as well. So my Reaver squad have got a bunch of other stuff. Obviously, I can use Hammer of Wrath on the Sanguinary Guard. They're great in combat. They're great for punching stuff off objectives. So that's obvious. There's the Hammer of Wrath that I can use on those as well. That's super sexy. And then obviously I've got Rapid Fire Strat, which I use on the Intercessor Squad every turn, just to keep like blisting shots as often as I can. But the main focus of this list, well, not main focus, the main trick or trying to trick is using the Reavers and using that Terror Troops stratagem. Which is, I'll read it out in detail for you guys. Let me just do this very quickly.
Yeah, because we don't know what Reavers even do.
So the unit gains the following ability Terror Troops. Unit until the start of your next command phase, while an enemy unit is within 3 inches of that unit, it loses the objective secured ability and any similar abilities that allow them to control an objective marker, regardless of the number of enemy models within range of that objective marker. They've also got, until the end of the turn, each time that Reaver unit ends a normal move or an advance or a charge move within 3 inches of an enemy unit that's performing an action, you can roll 2d6, and if the total exceeds the enemy's leadership characteristic, the action the unit is attempting to perform immediately fails. Now, I've got loads of faith in all of the output. The Inceptor squads, the Sanguinary Guard, the Intercessor squads, and the Heavy Intercessor squads. I feel like I've got enough output generally to deal with the things that I think is going to be an issue in the game, which are troops and objective secured stuff. Like I feel like I can. So I don't mind Go on, sorry, after you.
I was going to say, and you've also a lot of your stuff is starting off the board, so you can't get nuked straight away. So you're giving yourself a good chance at least having at least one swing with the Sanguinary Guard. So they come down, they charge, they do the damage. They're pretty resilient anyway. And like the Inceptors stay off the board, come down and do the damage before your opponent has a chance to respond by putting damage their way.
Well, it's also like quite a small footprint as well. Like I'm not necessarily going to start them off the board. I think the deep strike thing is good, but it's such a small board, and both Sanguinary Guard and the Inceptor squads are actually really fucking fast. So you don't have to actually necessarily like keep them off the board, depending on the terrain layout where you're deployed.
Yeah, I think Sanguinary. Yeah, I think there is an argument now with the smaller board and the terrain because you can hide behind it and you can fly about if you got jump packs on. Keeping them off the board on the board is actually pretty good, actually.
Yeah, well, that was my idea, because I imagined it more like a moving wall moving forward, because it's like over 50 wounds like at toughness 5, which could have a 5-up invulnerable save, like just in the heavy intercessors is kind of like your frontline core firing away, and then at some point you can fly the Inceptors over. They've got 18 in range, pretty decent. Like you fly them over. You don't even necessarily have to fly them over. You can keep them behind that line and fire, if that makes sense. And then also the Sanguinary Guard can like ramp in. And then because they're Blood Angels, they've got all that bonuses like to wound and stuff. And yeah, quite liked it. But then using the Reaver squad, because you're worried about the Inceptors, you worry about the Sanguinary Guard, you worry about like the heavy intercessors, you're worried about all that output. I feel like the Reaver squad will get left behind, and then I could just be like, you're not objective secured anymore. I'm stopping that unit doing the action. And then you could even, with the Inceptors, fly over, shoot another unit, and then just cap an objective with the captain at the same time. You can just be like, you're not objective secured, like I take that off you, and now I'm now objective secured. And I think that's like a cool little trick. I'm not saying it's I think like these are all power picks inside an army anyway. So that's my list. That's why I'd like to play that. I think that'd be super fun. Like and I think it's just all the strong bits in the book anyway, ignoring the Reaver squad.
Yeah. I think it's got lots of good output. I think long range output it struggles with. There's something at the back of the board that you really need to deal with. It's not going to necessarily be able to deal with that unless you're throwing your Inceptors all the way across the board at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I gather. Yeah, I thought about that, but I'm just really obsessed with like.
I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to. Like my list won't be able to deal with anything at long range at all. So I don't think you necessarily need to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, of course. Like I just really like the idea of controlling that everything that's happening around those objectives. Like it feels very much for like good for me. And I know the Reaver squad's quite expensive. Like it's 162 points, but I did bump it up from a 5-man squad to an 9-man squad. So like I don't know. I think it could do some really fun stuff. Like imagine just getting within 3, tagging it. Doesn't even necessarily have to like pin a unit and then like taking objective secured off it. I was thinking of like bigger not immortal blocks. Anyway, doesn't matter. Loads of things. And having seen Tom play it against me, I actually really liked having objective secured versus non-objective secured stuff, and I think you could do some clever shit. And everything in the list is designed to shoot against, is to take out Marines. Fucking Sanguinary Guard, take out Marines. Inceptor squads, take out Marines.
Yeah.
So that's what it's there for. Because I don't think I don't think you'll face anything else, or does it matter? Whatever. Tom, you got any criticisms?
So one of the things I wanted to point out before we get into the other stats, because obviously contextually, it's not really a criticism, but you do have a lower number of total wounds compared to me and Nick. Is that just because you're paying a premium for a lot of his toughness 5?
I think so, yeah, because you've got the Inceptors and the Sanguinary Guard. They're quite expensive.
Well, even then, I have the Inceptors too. The Sanguinary Guard, you're right on. Then you've got the heavy intercessors as well, whereas I don't have those. It looks like you're very much going in about T5. Was that like a conscious decision when you were building the list to try and stack as much T5 as you could?
Yeah, very conscious, like intentionally so. Like that, I told you when I read through the book, I loved the idea of the 5-up invuln as well as that T5 as well, because like because I feel if some people are specking to play against Marines, you bring in like you're going to try and wound Marines on 3s, right? Just to give put the maths in your favor. So if you just bump it around another way for yourself, I think that changes it up again. And like even like orcs are going to wound you on 5s, not going to wound you on 4s if you're in close combat. Not that that's a good decision, like a good point to make, but I feel like it was intentional. I wanted all of that. I wanted all of those wounds and that toughness 5 in like a very difficult brick. And then I wanted them just generally doing some fighting, because I think you'd be able to shoot and fight your way through. I think there's like a duality to the intercessor squads and heavy intercessor squads, which some of the other units don't have. You've got great shooting, but then you've also got way more attacks than a lot of other people have. So when you have it in Blood Angels, you've got +1 to wound. It's just, you're just giving a bunch of dice to your opponent like the close combat attacks that you have in the intercessors and the heavy intercessors are just free, effectively. In my mind, I don't know what you think, but that's how they feel. Neil,
so.
Thanks.
I feel like if you're trying to spec more towards toughness 5, why not go whole hog and just drop the third intercessor squad, have a 5-man heavy intercessor, get rid of the Reavers and have like either more Inceptors or some aggressors or something like that, because they're toughness 5 as well.
Yeah, I just really wanted the Reaver squad. The Reaver squad's the thing that I like. I know you could do just. I know I could just take the Reaver character, but I just thought it would be. I think that's a fun squad. I would like to. It's not a lot of points, so 160. I mean, I could even just make it a 5-man squad. I wanted to play around with that stratagem and see what I could pull off. Which again is why I took the Warlord trait, like so that I could try and like double them up, like make something objective secured that normally isn't. So the Inceptor squads or something. And then take objectives secured away, because the Inceptor squads aren't going to, like, they'll shoot something off an objective, but they're not going to punch them off, and they're also not going to outbody, because it's 6 models.
Well, the Inceptors might be able to punch a unit off the objective, because obviously they're still Blood Angels, so if you did deep strike them down, you've got 18-inch range, so you can shoot something that's further away than, say, you deep strike next to a squad, but then you shoot a squad that's further away than that, charge in, you've got your +1 to charge. They can do the strat where you do mortal wounds with a jump pack when you charge in, and then they've still got 3 attacks each with +1 to wound from Blood Angels. So I know they're not going to kill stuff with armor because they've got no AP, but they're still okay, I guess, at charging in.
Yeah, that's good. Herminister, thanks for subscribing, by the way. And he said, "Is a Reaver Lieutenant easier to run with the other stuff and still have the strat?" Okay, it's less wounds, but it gives some leeway in other bits. I think Herminister might make a good point there. I still think that strat's got play, though. And that's really like one of the things that I really like. So I guess it's a kind of combination of 2 different ideas being put together. Anyway, very happy with that. Oh, and I do like the Hammer of Wrath stratagem. That's sexy, as always. That's fun. But I don't necessarily think it's super strong. Okay, that's my list. And there we go. I'll include it in some show notes or something. Tom, Nick, who would like to go next?
Nick, do you want to go next?
Okay, I shall go next.
Okay, I'll put your list up. Give me a second. Give me a second, Nick.
Do it now.
Do it now. It's done.
Do it now.
Tis
Do
done.
it now. Okay, so my list. I don't have a name for it. I didn't really think of one, but maybe let's go with Iron Hands Luke's list. That's a bit rubbish, but there we go. So it's an Iron Hands list. It's 1 battalion. It's 1998 points, not the golden 2000, which we should all strive for, making our list exactly 2000 points because it feels good. But I couldn't quite achieve it with this one. So I've got a captain in Phobos armor, who's my warlord with Lord of Deceit. He's got the armor. The armor Indomitus. I thought I took that off, but anyway, that's my fault, Scrivo. A lieutenant in Phobos armor, and then I've got 6 unit of troops. I've got 2 10s heavy intercessors, just with the heavy bolt rifles, 1 10 of intercessors with auto bolt rifles, and then 3 infiltrator squads, max 10 guys with a comms array and helix adept. And then I've got a Primaris apothecary who's got the selfless healer warlord trait. He's the super apothecary with an adamantine mantle that gives him a 5+ DPR to keep him alive a bit more. And then I've also got a Vanguard veteran squad with Sergeant Thunderhammer, 2 with lightning claws, and then the rest with chainswords, and everyone's got a storm shield. So that is the list. It's predominantly a split between aggressive and defensive blocking. So the defensive blocking is the advanced deployment with the infiltrators. So 3 units of 10 infiltrators, scout deploying 9 inches away from your enemy in the no man's land, pushing your opponent back early, blocking off that space and trying to hold the middle of the board in the early turns. Obviously, I've got the Lord of Deceit Warlord trait, so those 3 units can redeploy in the start of the first battle round once I know who's gone first or second, so I can get the maximum positional advantage from those units, whether that be I'm going first and I want to be really aggressive and shoot and charge stuff, block stuff up, or be more defensive and pull them right back and hide in the corner.
So can you deploy them in no man's land?
Yes.
And then after, like I say, I want to go first, you can then withdraw them.
Yes. Put them back in my deployment zone.
That's cool.
Or hide them in the building or whatever. So I could be
That's
very
super
reactive.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, Onan, thanks for subscribing, baby. Big love to you. That's a fucking cool trick.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I've in my notes I put it's a trick, but it's not really a trick because it's going to happen, and you tell your opponent it's going to happen. It's not something you're going to necessarily catch someone out unless they totally forget. Your opponent should know it's going to come, and can kind of, I don't know, but I think it's hard to you can't do anything about it really. I'm always going to get a good position for them unless you get the first deployment, stick a load of infiltrating stuff in the middle of the board and completely block me out of the board anyway. So that could be a bad thing to happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really like that trick of having those advanced deployment stuff and be able to redeploy them. They're kind of like the deceiver. And then the other half of the list, which is the 2 units of heavy intercessors and the intercessor squad with the characters, they will sit on my home objective or objectives and then push forward in the later stages of the game if I'm winning, or just sit back and hold that. It's a super resilient block, obviously, because I'm Iron Hands. You've got the apothecary there to heal 2 dudes and res 1 guy. The all Iron Hands to get 6 of DPR. Obviously, the Marines, they've got access to the transhuman, and the Iron Hands have got reject the flesh stratagem for a 5 up DPR in a unit. So they're really, really resilient blocks of troops. Obviously, the heavy intercessors, like Rob spoke about, toughness 5, 3 wounds apiece. So it's going to be quite hard to chew through those.
Also, one of the things I didn't talk about was the heavy intercessors got strength 5 shooting, which I think is again something to kind of mention.
Anti-heavy intercessor shooting.
Pardon me?
Anti-heavy intercessor shooting.
Yeah, but also regular intercessors are strength 4, right, with their bolt rifles. So they're wounding the other Marines on 4s, but your heavy intercessors versus your intercessors / regular Marines you've got that swing down to 3s, which I think is again something to talk about, because I think that's a reason to take them for not too many more points.
No, because you see it on my list at the bottom there. It's only 280 for 10 guy. So it's 80 points difference. So
I guess that's a lot. Yeah. Nearly 50%. I need to shut the fuck up. Okay, 40% difference. Okay, but it feels good because it's an additional 10 wounds for that 80 points, and it's an additional strength on all of their shots, which feels also good. But okay, sorry, you carry on.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Like I said, so I've got that other defensive blob at the back, and then the other unit, the Vanguard veterans. I just had some spare points, and I was like, I kind of wanted a utility unit, and they're a pretty good utility unit, just for doing whatever. They can hold a different objective at the side, away from everyone else, or just go forward and charge something, or stand in the middle somewhere. So, like I said, the main trick of the list is probably the deceit, the Lord of Deceit redeploy. Apart from that, it doesn't really have any other tricks like your Reaver trick or anything crazy. It's just very solid board control list. It lacks sort of range firepower. I mean, I've got a lot of if I want to kill lots of hordes, I've got lots and lots of bolters. Or if I want to bring something down by weight of fire, there's lots and lots of bolters. And the heavy intercessors have AP, and as long as I'm in the tactical doctrine, all the other bolters have got at least 1 AP. And the Vanguard veterans are probably the most scary combat threat. But like we said, all the other intercessors, they still get a lot of attacks in combat, so they're not too bad. The secondaries that I'd be mainly going for with this list are probably Raise the Banners. I think is a really strong one for them, because Marines have a stratagem where you can shoot and raise banners. I'm not going to lose out on any shooting potentially by doing that. And I've got a lot of objective secured troops all over the board, so I can raise banners all over the place and protect them and hopefully keep them because I'm obsec and stuff like that. I'd also be looking at doing engaging on fronts, just because I've got the advanced deployed guys and the Vanguard veterans. I think I can score 2 points a turn quite regularly. And I think the third one I'll be going for is While We Stand, We Fight with this list, because I've got 3 characters who are the most expensive models, and because they're Iron Hands, they're pretty tough to get at because they're surrounded by 20 heavy intercessors and 10 intercessors. The apothecary is going to be healing them up if you do any chip damage to them. The apothecary, because of his adamantine mantle, has a 5+ DPR. The captain's got an invul already, and you can give an additional warlord trait in Iron Hands with the Paragon of Iron, I think it's called, warlord stratagem, where you give him an additional warlord trait. And there is an Iron Hands warlord trait called All Flesh is Weak or something like that, which gives him a 5+ DPR. So I'll have 2 characters with 5+ DPRs. So that I think that'd be quite difficult to get all 3 characters. So I think I should be confidently be able to score at least 10 points a game with that, unless it goes really, really wrong.
So one of the questions in the chat, which I think is also something, and I can't wait to see if Tom's list follows that parity, is that it doesn't seem there's to be a lot to deal with, toughness 8, toughness 9 sort of stuff. Well, not toughness 9, but toughness 8 sort of stuff. That's clearly a conscious choice. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I've just I think Neil Kerner chat's put a Las Mortis Dread, which I did think about. I could swap out the Vanguard veterans for a Mortis Dread, who in Iron Hands you can make a character so he's untargetable, sit at the back behind my heavy intercessors, which is a really good anti-tank long-range threat. Obviously, it's not as good in 9th edition, I think, due to the obscuring terrain rules as it was in 8th. So that is a change I could make to give me that long-range threat against armor and high toughness stuff. Because I do think I would struggle with this list at killing stuff like that. But this list isn't necessarily focused on killing stuff. It's more taking the board early and sitting on the objectives and having lots of tough, hard-to-kill bodies that are all objective secured. So I'm mainly just playing the objectives. I'm not trying to necessarily win games by killing stuff. If I do, obviously that makes it easier, but that's not the main focus of this list. It's more board control with resilient troops.
Yeah, I get you.
I do think long range firepower stuff like that is a weakness of the list.
I'm just not thinking about anything that's like toughness 8 or anything like that. I just don't care. I just want to kill intercessors, heavy intercessors, or custodes on objectives, and that really that solves a whole bunch of problems for me. That solves, incoming 2-wound plague marines. That solves a bunch of I think problematic units that are out there in the game, and or just something you'll see a lot of. And I'm not necessarily thinking you'll see loads of those vehicles. I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll see some sort of vehicle death guard list where you're gonna have to think about it. But personally, it didn't even occur to me to spec for vehicles. It wasn't even in my mind. So that's me. Okay, that's cool. Tom, you got any questions? Any thoughts?
Nope. Looks fine. It's got an identity. It plays into the identity. Works well.
It does. It does.
Nice.
Yeah. Are you worried about that
seal of approval?
That front screen is going to be a bit light, or do you think it's going to be survivable enough?
Well, it depends if you need a back screen.
Oh, that's true.
That's true. You can always switch it around. You don't necessarily have to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because with the Lord of Deceit Warlord trait, the redeploy, I can literally put those as long as no one takes the middle of the board, I can put those infiltrators wherever the fuck I want in turn 1. And I think they are really resilient. Even if the worst thing in the world comes at me, let's say the plasma inceptors are the bee's knees of killing marines and they come down max unit shooting me, mm-hmm. I can do transhuman, so you're only wounding on a 4, and I can do reject the flesh to give them a 5+ DPR. That'll keep a lot of them alive. And also Phobos stuff have the smokescreen keyword, and there's a marine stratagem called smokescreen, I think it's actually called, where you can give them -1 to hit as well. I don't know exactly when that happens, but that's another way to make those Phobos units more sneaky and resilient as well.
Okay, yeah, that's good. All right, big love.
Yeah, so smokescreen is in your opponent's shooting phase, so yes, I can do that reactively as well,
which is quite cool. And useful, and I like it personally. And also you could use Auspex scan as well. You can control a lot of the board.
Yeah. And those infiltrators, and I think stuff that's coming in from reserve and deep strike isn't as much of a thing as it used to be in 8th because of the smaller board size and the terrain. Like we just spoke about with your Sanguinary Guard, Rob, you're more likely to put them on the board, I think, and throw them across rather than deep strike them in now. But even if someone does have lots of deep striking stuff, the infiltrators have got the Omni Scramblers, so that's even more board control for them.
I just think movement 12 and fly on boards this small is just fucking crazy good. With enough terrain, if there's enough terrain knocking around, you can really just wait to counter attack. And as long as you've got something that's going to slog forward, I think I think any of that's good. That's the thing I want at the minute. Or at least maybe I've approached this Marine book really thinking about what I'm lacking in my Orc book. I'm like, oh, I'd love a unit like that that's that mobile and can do, when it does get there, can do that much damage. Like it's got AP3 damage 2 on those swords, so they'll just like chew Marines up, which I like.
Yeah.
Dude, you just think about this book and how many of the fantastic units we were talking about yesterday don't even make it into any of our lists.
Yeah.
Suppressors, no. Eradicators, no. Redemptors, no.
Yeah. Like they
Insane.
just...
The depth in this book is mental. Not even just in like your like Legion or your chapter keyword or whatever, but in the units themselves. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really true. I also think their play style is like all over the place. You can play them. Like it's a great. I mean, it should be a great book. It's fucking massive. There's 1 billion units, right? It's not 1 billion, but do you know what I mean? But there are loads.
Close to 1 billion, yeah.
Yeah, there are loads of ways to play it, which I think is good. I think it's good. That's why I wanted to do that Reaver strat, because I was like, that's something slightly different, right? Like instead of just output. But again, this board control list is super strong, Nick, and well, super good at least. So thanks for doing it.
Also, no one is rezzing an ATV. It's insane.
None of us. Neither of us.
I refuse to accept that is a model that exists.
Yeah. And also, can I just tell you, I almost included some servo strike turrets, like just for the pure memes, but I didn't want everyone thinking I was taking the piss. So
you know what? I don't know if everyone else agrees with this, but I think so. Some of the new Marine stuff that's come out since the Primaris release has been excellent. Like I love all the Phobos stuff. Normal intercessors look fantastic. The assault intercessors look great. The heavy intercessors look really cool. I'm not a massive fan of the Inceptors, but then there's loads of stuff that I think looks shit. Silly. Like the ATV looks shit. The Inceptors look a bit goofy. That turret that I can't remember what it's called, the one that you just mentioned, Rob. That was terrible. Turret. Yeah, there has been some really guff models that they've released as well.
There have been some truly guff models. That's true, but then at least most of us, own what is effectively a box called a Rhino, maybe multiples of them.
I like Rhinos, though.
Yeah, I know, but you like the model? Like, no, genuinely really. Like a Rhino? Like no one likes them.
I don't care about the model.
Yeah, but there must be some models you do like.
Stomper.
Der Stomper! Der Stomper, my fam! Stomper! Do you want to just rename the Thursday Toast to the Stomper Appreciation Show?
Stomper.
The SAS lads. Stomper. The Hammer Hall bunker is also trash. Thanks, Luke. That's also true. That's also trash. All right, Tom. What's nice is none of us picked the same chapter.
No. And also, it's my list because the font got smaller because we had to cram all the units on the same page. Uh-huh. Also, Scribbo's called the Inceptors Elites again, but that doesn't matter.
What's this fucking problem?
So, first things first, I went for a battalion. And I don't normally go battalions, but the reason why I went one here is because I didn't want to spam like multiple slots. So normally if I want like loads of like fast attack and loads of elites, I will take 2 patrols because that gives you 4. And it restricts you less with like HQs and what have you than taking like a patrol on the battalion. But this one, or if you want want loads of elites, then you just take the elites detachment, the vanguard or whatever it is, right? This one I wanted this like 3 slots, but I didn't want any more than that in any specific one. So the specific reasons why is like elites. If you look at the elite slot, I've got 3 slots used in there. I also went salamanders.
5 according to the graphic.
True. I should have gone for the elite slot, damn it. The elite detachment. I knew I should have done it. That'd save me some points. The reason why I went salamanders is firstly because I know they're universally good and I had enough on my plate to try and find like good units in this stupid book. Mm-hmm. But the second reason I did it was because I wanted to learn exactly how the successors worked. So it's not actually salamanders, it's the salamander successors.
Please name your successor now.
So my successor is called Generic Salamander Successor. And Scribbo did not put that.
I would love you in a genuine like war zone. You'd be like, "You are Infantry Squad 3 now." It's like, "Yes, sir. What's our fighting name?" It's Infantry Squad 3. Be inspired by that and get the fuck out there.
So that's fine. They have got.
Who are we?
Infantry's got 3!
They've got Born Heroes, which is +1 to hit in melee if you charged, which is really useful for all the Thunderhammers I have because it cancels out the -1.
How many have you got?
I've got 4 Thunderhammers in my Vanguard Veteran squad, and I've got a Thunderhammer on my captain.
Okay.
So, yeah, I know, right? Nilka says, Born Heroes and Whirlwind of Rage. I've wondered where I've heard that praised before. And that was on the WTC Squadcast where we had 3 Marine players on. So I did straight steal it. That's absolutely fine. It saved me a lot of research, okay? So I took that. And
You shouldn't let him copy your homework, Neil.
No, I research things by copying other people. Whirlwind of Rage is unmodified 6s to hit, cause an additional hit, which works really, really well with the Vanguard veterans in particular, because now you have got 24 attacks hitting on 2s, rolling 1s, and 6s cause extra hits. So you end up with more hits than you have attacks. And then you can also explode the Thunderhammer hits, which are incredibly valuable because having an extra attack with a Thunderhammer where quality is greater than quantity is fantastic value because you're getting AP -2 damage free or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty strong. So in the list, I'll go through it very quickly. We have got a captain with a jump pack, mastercrafted bolt gun, storm shield, Thunderhammer. We've got a Primaris chaplain on bike with a lot of stuff, so I'll go through that individually in a second. We've got a tactical squad, which is probably the closest you're going to get to dead points in this list. By dead points, I mean points you're spending on units that do one thing, and it's probably like you're paying above and beyond for that one thing for the value, right? So you're just like dropping points on something that isn't actually necessarily like giga useful when you could just spend like a little bit more to get something that's entirely useful, right?
Will it disrupt your flow to tell us what that thing is now?
So I wanted to get assault intercessors. And the reason why I wanted to get assault intercessors was so that they could sit on the back end with the whirlwinds. So a lot of people are taking scramblers at the minute, or what it's called. And if you stick whirlwind in one corner, I'm not going to stack the whirlwinds because the only reason why you do that is to get reroll 1s consistently. But
What
I
do you
don't want to
mean by stack the whirlwinds.
But I mean castle them up together,
Okay.
so you can put a character next to them and get buffs to hit from an aura on both of the whirlwinds. Now, firstly, you can't do that now anyway because they're not core. Second of all, I don't want to pay the points for 2 whirlwinds getting reroll 1s to hit. So I'm going to split them up, and then I'm going to stick, ideally, some assault intercessors between, so that if anyone tries to drop and tries to hit the whirlwinds or tries to stick anything in that back section to finish off the scramblers, then you have the then they're at least getting punished for it, right? Or it also forces you to really cause an issue with things like engaged all fronts because you're able to actually clear up that kind of stuff. I couldn't afford that because I needed Master of Sanctity on my Primaris Chaplain. So I had to knock it down to a tactical squad instead. They are still kind of okay because they're 2 wound Marines. You don't really want to be shooting at them. You can park them on an objective. It's a bit of a problem, right? Because it's still 10 wounds with a 3-up save, toughness 4. So it's not like particularly easy to shift, especially when you're sticking them in terrain and you've got all this other stuff down your throat, right? We also had 2 Incursor squads. They're in there specifically because I wanted a job done and they do the job the cheapest. The first job was to fill out my battalion. The second job was to stop anyone from pushing onto my whirlwinds turn 1 before I can fan out my Blade Guard veterans and before the Interceptor squads can come down and actually do some work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're in there just because they can infiltrate as well. They're not quite as good as infiltrators, but they can push out and do that job for me. I've got 2 squads of 5 Blade Guard veterans. I've got a big squad of Vanguard veterans with 4 Thunderhammers and 6 Astartes Chainswords. They've all got jump packs. And then I've got 2 squads of 5 Inceptors with so it's 5 plasma. So they've got 2 plasma exterminators each. So that's 10 plasma exterminators. And then I've got the 2 whirlwinds. So Neil saying I could have taken the assault intercessors if I didn't take the overpriced whirlwinds, and I agree they are overpriced. But I wanted to test them. It's the same as the Oberon thing, right? Where it's probably not good, but I wanted to put it in there just to test. And the reason why I want to put them in there is firstly because it forces your opponent to put more stuff on those backfield objectives than they otherwise normally would. So you see people take things like Crypto Thralls is a good example, right?
Yeah.
So you take 2 Crypto Thralls, you stick them on an objective, no one's touching them, right? Well, now I've got 2 whirlwinds. You've got to stick something else there, right?
Yeah.
It also gives you an easy way to get grind them down. Not that it matters because you're not taking it because you've already got the Marine secondary, right? which is basically 2 points for if you have a Marine within the 6 inches of the center of the board, and 1 point if you don't fall back or fail a morale check. Which, if I just do those things, I won't die, right? Also, the whirlwinds provide me with that kind of buffer so that it's harder to get scramblers.
It also allows you to like punch a hole in for the Inceptor squads to drop in.
Possibly. I don't see it as why I'm taking them though, because I don't think it's that consistent. The whirlwinds have got 2d3 shots each, strength 7 AP -1 damage 2. So even then, you're getting 4 shots. You may be hitting 3, maybe 2 times, and then it's not massively consistent, right? But it forces your opponent to play in a way where they're actually pressuring the center of the board, because now your opponent has to hold back a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, they have to think about what else they're going to be placing there, so that they're not just losing objectives right before their turn starts.
Yeah, good point.
Which is
which is what I really like about it, actually, because you ignore line of sight, don't you? Like, and it's
absolutely,
range.
yeah. And they're 135 points each. They are quite expensive. I also had to look at the Thunderfire cannon. They're slightly cheaper, but they are only strength 4. So I felt like the one was a better option, especially when you consider it's also got a wider bum, so therefore it's harder to deep strike around those kinds of things. So then you kind of keep those things safe by dropping the incurses down early and pushing them forward, so you can't really just get jumped on early, like Brad Chester was saying on the WTC podcast that we did. Then once you've done that, you've got the Vanguard veterans pushing out, you've got the Vanguard veterans in the center as well that are going to cause an issue. And then if they overextend for something, that's when the Inceptors come in and start doing some damage. The big combo here is the Primaris Chaplain with the Vanguard veterans. And to a lesser extent, the Jump Captain. But the only reason the Jump Captain is like a Smash Captain is because I like having him like Rob with your captain, right? You had him running around rerolling ones. For the cost of an extra Storm Shield and a Thunderhammer, I'm now giving him an entire extra roll. I
meant to put a Thunderhammer on him. I just didn't do it.
Oh no, you're absolutely fine.
It wasn't like I intentionally left it off. Like I just forgot to put it on. He obviously was meant to have that.
No, I couldn't tell if you'd run out of points. That was all.
No. It wouldn't be today. It wouldn't be. I wouldn't take it off him anyway. That wouldn't be what I'd do. So
I'll give you a full list of what I've put on this Primaris Chaplain on bike. And one of the issues I was having with this is trying to work out exactly how I get all this scuff on this guy. I think I've done this correctly, and I don't think I've missed anything. But if I have, chat, please feel free to correct me, because it's a lot of stuff to take in, especially when you don't have the codex with you at work when you're looking after small children. So I have the Primaris Chaplain on bike. He is a Master of Sanctity, which means that he can, let me just scroll over through my notes. He can know 1 additional litany. He's got +1 to cast litanies, and you can use the Commanding Oratory stratagem for 1 CP, and that allows you to basically auto-inspire a litany. So when you want to get a litany off, very, very consistent, because you just drop a 1 CP, unless it's got something like a Vect or a Zandrak or a plan 10,000 years in the making or whatever it is. Then you're just getting that litany off straight away, right? And even then they have to burn something to stop you. The litanies that it has the stock litany of hate. The litany of hate allows you to reroll to hit the core and character units within 6 inches in melee. It also has the excitation of rage, which is one of my favorite ones, and this is why it works really well on the Vanguard veterans. I see Sergeant Roll passing why it costs 2 CP. It's because I've spent 2 stratagems on him. I'll come to that in a second. So that allows a core or character unit to get +1 to wound in melee, and Vanguard vets are core. So suddenly all those Astartes chainswords are now +1 to wound. So you're realistically wounding on like 3s or 4s most of the time. Worst case scenario, you're wounding on 5s.
Okay.
With that many attacks, it's very, very good. The final one it has is the Canticle of Hate, which is for all characters in core within 6 inches, they get a +2 to their ranged charge, and they can consolidate and pile in an extra 3 inches. So that makes your charges even more consistent with things like your Smasher Captain, which is very, very nice with that specifically, because you can jump over things and actually get that kind of charge off. But also with the Vanguard Vets, where you're able to maybe multi-charge it a little bit more consistently, right? Which is something you often want to be doing with that kind of unit anyway. We then get into adding on the Warlord traits and the relics. So it's a Warlord, which means I've given him the Imperium Sword. The Imperium Sword allows the Chaplain itself to reroll charges. So now if you get your Canticle of Hate off, you are rerolling charges with a +2, and you have +1 strength and attack on the charge because of the Imperium Sword. So he's very, very consistent at getting into those combats. I wasn't able to give him the big bad Crozius that you go around whacking people with, but he has his own benefits. Those benefits are mainly in terms of his durability. So I've also used Exemplar of Promethean Creed, which is 1 CP stratagem, to give your Warlord an extra Warlord trait. And to do that, I gave him a second Warlord trait called Forge Master. Now, Forge Master gives him +2 toughness. So now on a bike, he's now
Toughness
toughness 7. He's now
Wait,
toughness 7.
toughness 7 guy on a bike?
Yeah. He's toughness 7. So he's
He's
running
as tough as a Leviathan Dreadnought now.
Yeah. And that was the first.
As
CP that I've used.
Mortarian.
And then the second one is this. I spent 1 CP for a Trust of Prometheus, which allows me to give him a relic from the Salamanders list. And so I gave him the Salamander's Mantle, which also makes him -1 to wound.
Wow.
Wait, so he's toughness 7 -1 to
If you
wound?
are strength 6 or lower, you are wounding on 1/6s all the time.
You fucking dick. That's great.
Yeah, so it's really durable. And the reason why I did that is because when I'm looking at the secondaries, we're already talking about, well, I want to be sticking something in the center of the board all the time. Well, now I can just let my Vanguard veterans go off and do what they want. And I can just stick this guy in the center and say, come and shift me. Because...
Obviously, I think Kryptonite for him is mortal wounds, though.
Yeah, absolutely it is. The question is, how are you going to apply those mortal wounds, though?
Yeah, how are you going to
Rob's
get
got his fist on.
Mephiston, you can do it. Good luck.
Smite him down in what, 4 or 5
He
turns?
still has to be the closest unit, though. Yeah.
How many wounds does he have at toughness 7?
Don't go and check for you, mate. Actually, 1 second. It's probably chapter on the
Probably
bike. 5 or 6. I would imagine 6 because it's like 5 standard for a Primaris and +1 for a bike, right?
Mephiston's going to mortal wound him to death in like 8 to 9.
Now, if I had an apothecary, that would be giga funny. No, 7 wounds.
7
Wow.
wounds. Fuck
7 wounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've gotta
5
say,
turns
though-
of smiting, Rob.
Yeah. One of the things I do really like about it, Tom, is the whirlwind pick, because actually that's I think whether or not it's the answer to the really smart thing that you've picked up, it's the you are going to have to push into the midfield a lot with really strong units. So what's holding that backfield, and then if that backfield is being held quite lightly, if you've got something that can drop those bombs and just clear them out, that's actually pretty cool and quite key. I've never struggled with that with my orc list because my back line is 12 mech guns, so it's like good luck, dickhead.
Also, you're basically guaranteed giving up that bring them down point as well. So it's just like, well,
yeah,
there's nothing you can do here, really.
There's literally nothing you can do about it. Unless you rebuild the list. But holding that backfield, I think for some lists, and I think Marines is one of those lists that maybe struggle to hold the backfield unless you put something like a whirlwind in.
Yeah.
You know, because what are they doing? Who's doing that job well and cheaply? Really?
I mean, you don't really. Yeah, this is the thing. Maybe you do scouts or something, but even then, it's just like it's a pain. But if you look at the stats on these, you look at the number of models, you look at the total wounds, it's similar to Nikos is. The points per model is kind of expensive. I've got fewer objective secured models, but it's not necessarily even about those stats because we've talked about the whirlwinds, we've talked about the Incursed a little bit, we've talked about the combo with my characters and the vanguards. We haven't even started talking about the Blade Guard veterans and the Inceptors.
No,
because that's where the damage is.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I glossed over it on my list as well. Yeah,
no,
let's all do it now. Yeah, the Inceptors are nuts, right? They're blast weapons.
10d free shots.
That are blast, right?
So average, you're getting 20 shots. They're plasmas, so strength 7 AP -1 damage 2, or strength 8 AP strength 8 AP -3 damage 2. They're always AP -3. And then if you've got the captain there as well, and then you're
aren't they flat damage 1? Sorry. They're damage 1.
And then if you overcharge, you can be damage 2.
Yeah.
Which you can still do, especially if you've got the captain there. I mean, rerolling 1s is like,
I have some stats on that, actually. If you have a reroll 1's aura on them, it's only 11% chance to kill each Inceptor. So, from your 10, statistically, you'll lose 1. But there you're doing damage 2. So, you're doing pretty good there.
Yeah, and if you're losing 1 Inceptor, but if you're overcharging, you probably take that. So, I'll lose 1 Inceptor, maybe 2 Inceptors, whatever, but I'm still doing a crap load of damage, right?
Yeah, tons.
Rolling 1. So you got 20 shots, 14, 7, 2, 16 hits, strength 8.
What is it about the if you don't overcharge it, or would you overcharge it every time? Is it the AP?
Depends what you're shooting.
The AP is the same.
Orc boys don't need to overcharge, but
the AP is always AP -3. But what changes with the overcharging is the strength of damage. So the strength goes from 7 to 8, and the damage goes from 1 to 2.
Yeah, for me it's AP 3, just because all I think about is Marines, and I just want them to be naked.
Oh, but mate, if you overcharge, you're now wounding on 2s and you're doing double damage.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You definitely overcharge against Marines.
Oh, fuck
Unless
it.
Iron Hands, maybe, because the 6-up feel no pain can really gut you. But that's about it. Even then, you probably still do it. Like against Nikos, I'd still do it because I want to chew through as many of those Marines as I can because his damage and his durability is all in the same place because he's got loads of it.
It's true. Can we talk about how deeply cheap the Blade Guard veterans are? Like,
Fucking insane. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the same thing.
A
Like, look,
unit in a
dude,
new starter box is
dude,
underpriced.
look at this. So you've
Can't believe
got
it.
the Vanguard vets are 20 wounds with a 2+ save and a 4+ invulnerable. Okay. The Blade Guard veterans are 15 wounds with a 2+ save and a 4+ invulnerable. Okay. So now I've got 50 wounds in my elite slot with a 2+ save and a 4+ invulnerable.
Yeah. It's very good. Yeah.
What?
And you
Who's
got such a
cheaper points per wound?
Cheap points per wound. I think it's the Vanguard vets, right?
Yeah. And we haven't talked about the
No, it's not. No, it's not.
We haven't talked about the obvious strats like transhuman. Thank you, competitive
Oh,
wargaming.
yeah.
Like, so obviously you put transhuman on a unit, which is also like one of my picks. Like with my list early doors, is I've got like a ton of wounds toughness 5, and you pick one of them out. If they then have got transhuman and a 5-up invuln save, it's fucking wild. Like wild. I get it. I get my list is more of like a brick that moves forward, and then like stuff that flies over. But like I don't know how you get away from the fact that you can create these like unkillable bricks. That's what it feels like. It genuinely feels like unkillable bricks for quite cheap.
Well, that's why I feel like in the future, once all these books have come out, I feel like mortal wounds, although they're quite rare and hard to get lots spamming wise, I think they're like mortal wounds. Obviously, always been good, but I think they could be more relevant in this edition because of stuff like this. Because you got lots of toughness 7 -1 to wound dudes going around, or lots of invuln saves with 2-up armor save. Mortal wounds just get straight through that, and if the game goes more elite, then that's just going to be more relevant.
Agreed. Big chat. Final Cookie in chat says that I need to remember that Marines really hurting for an undercosted melee threat. They've suffered in the meta for too long, Nick. Too long that they suffered for.
Too long.
I don't know, man. They're really good at the start of 8th, but really good at the end of 8th. I'm not entirely sure about what happened in the middle of it. It seems
Yeah,
irrelevant.
they had a whole middle of an edition to suffer.
Yeah.
did they? Was it just nothing happening because like the whole world collapsed? Like it wasn't that. Really
That was the end of the edition. It's fine. You know?
Okay.
And even then, they got LGT plus.
Oh, sorry, the whole edition. No, you're right. Sorry. Yeah. I thought you just meant this year. Sorry, I wasn't listening because I'm an idiot. I apologise. But then there's so much more to unpack. Like Competitive Wargaming says, there's still White Scars lists and Successors lists, which I know Tom you did one. There's big blue lists at the end of the day. They're still a thing. Dangers lists. There's loads that you can like do. We haven't
Black
even
Templar
touched on
lists.
Huh?
Black Templar lists.
Are there
Grey
Black
Knight
Templar
lists.
lists?
Oh, mate, it's not even going to matter when Death Watch drop, by the way. It's not even going to fucking matter.
They've dropped. They're out. They're ready.
Yeah, but I haven't read the book. I'm still waiting for it to arrive. You know how I ordered Gazgul and Space Wolves like last week on the show?
Who's your
Yeah.
supplier? Call them out on the show, Tom.
I mean, it's currently at the depot because it was meant to arrive this morning and I was at work. So
But what shop
Oh,
did
okay.
you order them from?
gamesworkshop.com. I still need
Directly from the
the
source.
Death Watch book. I've only got the Space Wolf one. I'm hoping that a A4 sheet doesn't fall out the front of it this time. That'd be
No,
nice.
there's none of that.
Yeah, good. Very good. It's fine, then.
Frothy Cat, we need analysis of the MetaWatch royalty vow to really vet these lists. That's true. We'll ask him in
Yeah, he
on
knows what's
Tuesday.
good.
Yeah.
Remember, sometimes we interview top players and sometimes we interview Val.
Different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, thanks, Tavin, and big love to you. I would like to try and play you guys with these lists. I think that would be fun. Or do you think like play them against each other would be weird? Or do you think it's better to try and like play some of the
Tabletop
lists?
Simulator,
versus
mate.
them? Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, would you
Really
like to try and do that, or would you think like at some point
Yeah,
over the next couple of
let's
weeks
do it.
try and get it? Okay. Yeah.
I
All
dare,
right.
I dare any of you guys to kill all of my army. I wager you'd only kill 10% of it.
What, of your whole army?
Yeah,
What? I'd say that
10%,
bet.
and then you'll
£5
tap out.
I'll tap out. Okay, all right. What, like tap out like whatever a face is going to do against Colleen?
Wagatha Christie.
I believe her name is Rebecca Wagatha Christie Vardy. That's her gamer handle.
All right, yeah, we'll do that. We'll play these against each other, which is fun. And there's been fun. Has anyone got any questions or thoughts in the chat? I'd love to hear it. Have you two got any follow-up thoughts?
Well, I thought it might be quite a good idea just to have a look at some lists that might have been doing well in tournaments that are Marines.
That'd be awesome.
So
I did not prep this.
Well, I went to 40kstats.com because they do like top 4 stats. I was trying to find a Marine one, but the Marines haven't been doing as they've not been dominating. I should find a Marines one. Here we go. So we've got a Marines in 4th place, Jared Gomez in the Clutch City GT, played Ultramarines. So you had a bike captain, Tigerius.
What a name for an event.
Primarius Reaver.
Now.
What was the name of the event?
Clutch City.
Clutch City GT.
Clutch City, baby.
Oh, my
Yeah, the naming of that event was very important. You could say it was Clutch.
Fucking hell, dude.
So, bike captain, Rights of War Warlord trait, Tigerius, Psychic Fortress, Primaris Reaver Lieutenant, I presume for the Reaver stratagem.
Oh, it's all coming up, Rob.
Primaris Apothecary, Selfless Healer.
Imagine fucking having a GT being won by a Rob list.
Can we stop ragging on me in 40k? Anyway, carry on.
I'm ragging on your list.
5 Blade Guard veterans, Contemptor Dreadnought with Assault Cannon, Redemptor Dreadnought, Suppressors, Incursor, Infiltrator Squad, Intercessors, a Tactical Squad, and Eradicators, and a Razorback. That's such it doesn't feel, I don't know, a bit all over the place, a bit of a mixed arms list.
Yeah, but it's got lots of options. It's got lots of answers to lots of options. A lot of power picks there as well. Eradicators, Blade Guard vets. Can we talk about that Reaver Lieutenant as well? Oh, yeah.
But, you know,
is that another kind of Primaris Lieutenant?
It was a North American list, so...
To be fair, all of the lists it was playing against were North American lists.
So that creates an equality there.
You know that guy who was who did that video of himself for 14 minutes about the Ares gunship?
Oh no, we're not allowed to talk about him. Yeah, but yeah.
But he won a GT in America
when?
this weekend.
No, he didn't.
He did.
Oh my god!
The absolute scenes, mate.
Oh my god! Scenes. What the fuck? If any of you don't know what you're talking about, if any of you don't know what you're talking about, there's a gentleman who doesn't necessarily have all of his Tom. There's no way I approach this subject well, so I'm just going to back out. I'm just doing it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I've just left the fucking conversation.
Yeah,
Nick, apologies for bringing that up because that seems rude to just bring up. Do you remember that? Did you hear that bit of gossip?
No, I didn't hear that gossip. No.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, tell me after the show.
Yeah, that's all. He does not represent all of us. I mean, he represents the competitive side of you guys because he's winning events. That's all I can say. Unless you just staged an event with only him in, if that is a thing. Sorry,
maybe
Tom,
he did. Maybe it was all fabricated.
He's like that podcast where it's completely... Yeah. Tom, I don't know if you listened to the Sunday show. I'm not sure if you did. Where I talked about the gossip and people catfishing.
Oh no, I went back and watched that again. Yeah, because you it was I think you mentioned that I supplied you the link, so yeah, I definitely went back and watched that.
My question to you is this time for you to finally admit that you actually aren't who you say you are, and you really are a North American 40k player?
Yeah. No,
admit it, Rob. Admit it.
I'm actually from Norway. Stealing all of your ideas. I don't know.
Norway. Okay. All right, that works. Sorry, Nick. Please continue with what list did well.
Okay, so I've got a 3rd place at the Midmo Maelstrom.
Oh, nice. Midmo Maelstrom.
Ben Sherwin.
Okay.
So he's got Black Templars.
Shut up.
High Marshal Halbrecht, a Primaris Chaplain on bike.
Okay.
Through Blade Guard Veterans ×3. Blade Guard Veterans ×3. Servitors, a Primaris Apothecary with the usual stuff.
Yeah.
Terminator Assault Squad with Thunderhammers. 7 dudes. 7 dudes.
Nice. Okay.
Vanguard Veterans with Lightning Claws and Storm Shields. 1 with a Power Fist. 3 multi-melter attack bikes, which are here at all the rage, an Insector squad with plasmas, 4 of those fellas. No, sorry, 5 of those fellas. 5 eradicators and a whirlwind. So there you go.
Okay, another Tom Whirlwind. It's in your list.
Yeah, but they didn't have 2, so it sucks.
They're getting there.
Just
though.
the one.
They're getting there.
Yeah,
They're getting there.
there's quite a lot of combat in that list. The Blade Guards, the Terminators, the Vanguards. So yeah, maybe combat is making a bit more of a comeback nowadays, isn't it?
Ben Sherwin is a mate of mine, says Joe Cryer. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Well, say hi.
Say hi. Say
Why hasn't
congratulations.
got a fucking second whirlwind?
Yeah, why has he got 2 whirlwinds? What the
Where's
fuck?
other whirlwind?
What the fuck, Joe? That's why he came 3rd.
Joe with his own
Yeah,
whirlwind.
you fucking grow up. Have 2.
Fucking noob. Take more.
Is that all? Is that all that's knocking about?
There's a 4th place, Dan Salmons, also in
what a
the
name.
Midmo Maelstrom,
Okay.
with white scars.
There it is.
Ooh, they're hot goss at the minute.
So,
They're hot
They could
goss.
be. Yeah.
Corsaro Khan, a lieutenant in Reaver armor, Primaris Chaplain on bike, which looks like it's got the same combo, but obviously not salamanders. Similar combo to Tom, but without all the toughness stuff. 5 assault intercessors, 5 incursors, 5 incursors,
Wait a
5
minute.
Blade Guard veterans, 5 Blade Guard veterans, and then 3 units of 2 company veterans.
So they're like the little shitty crypto.
Yeah, the little
that are
2
really
dudes.
nice.
Yeah.
So if he wasn't using all the toughness shenanigans, where did the Warlord trait and the relic go? I know he's white scar, so it's not quite the same, but
Well, the Warlord, he's got the Master of Sanctity on the Chaplain, so he's got the Warlord trait there. He's got Wise Orator. So I don't know what that means. That's just the standard one that he gets from the upgrade. I don't know,
so.
Tom.
Yeah. Well, what on the Sanctity?
Yeah, so he gets an extra.
Yeah. Each time the
lifting
Warlord recites an he add 1 to the roll to see if it's inspiring, and each time the Warlord is selected to use commanding oratory stratagem, it costs 1. It costs 1 command point as opposed to 2. So yeah, that's why. So +1 to the roll to see if it's inspiring. So does that mean he just does all prayers on a 2+?
I think so. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty baller.
I mean, Master of Sanctity does that anyway. But
Mm.
yeah, you can get a free 1 for 1 CP.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
know,
the
additional...
list has also got more Vanguard veterans with lightning claws and storm shields. It's got two 2s of attack bikes with melter guns and 5-man Inceptor squad.
Okay. 5-man
So-
Inceptor squad. With plasmas,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think these lists are more looking like Tom's list than ours. Obviously, and yours as well, Rob.
Yeah,
With the-
these
with the
Americans were stealing
Inceptors.
my list.
They were.
Yep. I didn't see any of these before I wrote
Yeah.
my list.
I 100% didn't see any of these. I'd just like to a big shout out to Peter Falcon, who is on the show every Tuesday. I rarely visit his website, but it is an excellent website to visit, so please do go on there, 40kstats.com. As sponsored by Games Workshop, they get free stuff now, I heard. So,
really?
Yeah.
But what they didn't get is player cards. I really wanted to see their player cards.
That's
They
what we
didn't
needed.
get player cards. Right, well, Nick, that's actually a really nice element to add in, so appreciate that. Thanks. That was fun. That was fun. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you guys. I think that's us for the day. Obviously, do join us though for the Saturday show when we will be discussing the previews, which I think is going to be Death Guard. I'm super keen for that.
I
So-
have no
Tom,
idea
what's
what
up?
I have no idea what it could be, mate. Absolutely no clue.
Definitely Death Watch.
Definitely
No,
Death Watch.
Death Guard.
Yeah, but
Death
release
Guard.
Death Watch.
I'm
Yes.
preparing my Demon Prince.
Ooh,
this-
he's got
this
teeny
fucker.
wings. That's cute.
Well, actually, they're currently tiny, but you can see the copper wire have extended them, so they will be bigger.
Are those
Oh.
the
My green
Tyraxi
stuff comes in.
Skystalker wings?
No, they're Tyranid gargoyle wings.
Oh, it's basically the same thing. Okay. Fair enough.
So they will have
love
big
it.
wings eventually.
Good effort.
It's good effort.
Big
That's
task
great.
wings.
Really, really great. Yeah, I do like. I like standing up at the desk. The stand-up desk is the future. I feel like a lot more alive.
Yeah.
When am I? The big question is Tom, you asked the question probably at the start of the show, and this is the real one. Is Games Workshop clearly already scraping the barrel for MetaWatch articles? The real question is, when do they scrape low enough to get to the honest wargamer? That's the real question.
I never said
Have to go through the bottom of the barrel.
How long are they going to go round the plug hole before they finally acknowledge our existence?
The lint that is.
So far, we've had iOS.
They'll be hinting broadly at it. And Val and Peter can also be found on Twitch every Tuesday at 12 o'clock.
On a redacted channel, beep.com.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, absolutely. Listen, it's been a pleasure listening to you guys and talking to you guys and doing Marine Lists. I've loved it. I can't wait to talk more next week. Next week, though, we've got a special guest, right? He's already been on the show for the whole show right now, as you can see. But Innes Wilson will be joining us next week.
Does he own a stomper?
Does Innes own a stomper? Do we allow people on the show if they haven't been a stomper?
Yeah, if he doesn't have a stomper, he needs to immediately go out and buy a stomper, build it, and have it as evidence that he has it ready for next Thursday.
Nice.
Yes. I think probably will, won't he? He likes us.
Yeah. Sure he will.
Oh, Lure of the Gods, thanks for subscribing.
Yeah, if he likes us, he'll buy a stomper.
Yeah, he will. Yeah.
And if he hasn't, we'll know his answer.
Next week. Please do join us next week to see if he has. Owen, also thanks for subscribing. It's been super love to everyone who has subscribed today or has supported us on Patreon. You guys are great. Nick, it's your opportunity right now for a shout out. Have you got any shout outs?
Oh, go to Tom first. I'll find a shout out.
Okay.
Shout out to Gozzy.
Oh, you're not anyone else,
Yeah,
Tom? Not one other person? Not one other group or community or someone who's inspired you? Don't forget it's men's mental health day or whatever the fuck it is and toilet day. So one person you love. One person.
Oh.
One person, Tom. Just love one more. Just love with your heart one human being.
You can't
Open up your feelings place.
Yeah.
And let out a name.
Yeah.
40k shit.
Go into your feelings place, Tom. Go into your feelings place. One person, Tom. One feelings.
Well, we need to give Ed Sheeran a shout out again because we're his favourite 40k show.
That's true. That is true.
I want to give a shout out to D-Meep on YouTube and Legend of Criticia.
Okay. My shout out, thanks to you. My shout out is to Colleen for everything she's been through during the Wagatha Christie situation. And my shout out is also to the Twitch chat. You guys are the best. And I can't thank Tom and Nick enough because they're both wonderful people and great for being on the show. Thanks very much. We just saw some foot there.
Thanks for having us.
That was awkward. See you guys soon. Look after yourselves.
TOS.